Alright, I'm Tim. I'm the kitchen supervisor at the Monadnock Food Co-op, and I'm participating in New Hampshire's Big Bite, which is a local event that goes through the entire month of August. And we're going to make some pancakes today. So it's a pretty basic recipe. It's made with buttermilk, and that's one of the ingredients that helps the pancakes to become fluffy. So here we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I've got about 2 teaspoons of baking powder here, mixed with 1 teaspoon of baking soda. That's going to go right in the mix. Those are your dry ingredients. There's also a teaspoon of kosher salt in there. And it's important to realize if you're doing this at home that kosher salt is going to be saltier than regular table salt. So you might want to use a little bit more or a little bit less depending on how you feel about it. Once you have your dry ingredients mixed together, you just want to give them a slight blend with a whisk, or you can use a fork if you don't have a whisk. Let's get that nice and mixed together. And then you always want to keep your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients separate at the beginning. And then you can start to mix them together. So we've also got 2 cups of buttermilk here. And I like to use Kate's because it's got yogurt cultures in it that have really helped to bring some acidity and tang to the mix. So there's 2 cups of buttermilk, 2 large eggs. These eggs are from Maplebrook Farm. That's out of, I believe, Bennington, Vermont. And here I've got 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. Now you can use sugar. You can use turbinado sugar, brown sugar. You can use agave syrup. I decided to use the maple syrup because it's from Crescendo Farms, which is out of Swansea. That's going in the wet mix. There's also a teaspoon of vanilla extract in there. And that helps to bring some richness, some different flavors to the mix. That's completely optional though. You don't have to use vanilla extract if you don't want. And we do the same thing here. We give it a little mix, being careful not to over mix it, just nice and put together. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of butter, melted butter, to that mix. This is Cabot unsalted butter. And as soon as that melted butter hits the cold batter, it's going to start to solidify again. So we just quickly mix it in. Now we're going to make a well right in the center. We'll pour our liquid into our dry ingredients, and we're going to mix. And this is really important that you don't over-mix this. You want lumpy batter. Might seem counterintuitive, but it's how you get fluffy pancakes. So just get it to the point where it's homogeneous but not completely mixed together, and then we stop. Pretty much right here, and we just check the bottom to make sure there's no dry flour sticking to the bottom of the pan. And that's it. We're going to let this sit for about 20 minutes or so. The reason we do that is because the lactic acid, the cultures in the buttermilk actually react with the bicarbonate in the baking soda. So we want to let that sort of intermingle and do its thing, and it creates air pockets, and then we'll be able to get fluffier pancakes out of it in the long run. All right, so there's that. And now that we've waited, we incorporate our main ingredient, which is the blueberries. These are from Hemingway Farm, which is out of Charleston, New Hampshire. I'm going to do about a cup. Really get it in there and mix it together a little bit. If you have it and you can find them, you always want to substitute wild blueberries over these. These are cultured. They're going to be smaller, they're more tart, and it goes better with the end product. But we didn't have any here, so we're sticking with the next best thing, and they're local, so that's good too. All right, we're ready to grill. Now here we've got 2 hot griddle plates. These are cast iron, so they're really going to spread the heat out. Turn the heat up a little bit on them. About a 1/3 cup right here for each one. This is what you want to measure for a decent medium-sized pancake. And these are going to griddle and sort of spread out over time for about 3 minutes. So we're waiting for it to spread out. As the pancakes sort of start to cook, you'll notice little bubbles forming on the sides. That's great. That means that they're starting to cook through the center. But we're going to wait until we start getting bubbles on the top, and then we're going to flip. So it's about 3 minutes per side, just playing with the heat a little bit. You don't want to go too hot. You don't want scorched pancakes, right? And you don't want to mess with them too much, because what's happening is that it's actually starting to rise. You start playing with it, it's going to sink back down. This one's going first, all right? Nice flip. There you go. A little dark on top. That's usually the case with the first pancake, at least. But that does smell good. You can really smell the maple syrup in there. Number 2. That one's a little light, so we're going to turn the heat up on that back burner. That one looks nice. You can see the blueberries nice and bubble starting to pop in the center. One last trick is you always should heat up your maple syrup. People probably don't do this, but I always do at home, and it just adds a little bit of an extra dimension. You may have heard some cooks say once or twice that heat is a garnish. Well, it also enhances flavor. So there we go.